The first thing I need to say is simple. Your desire is a peaceful land, and your concentration is the gate. If you care about something, keeping focused is the morning practice of keeping that gate defended. You know what I'm saying? When your mind begins to wander like a browser with too many tabs open, each playing a different song. One tab, thrill, another phobia, another distraction, hiding behind productivity. Distractions are not the problem. The problem is we give them more value than the work that matters. Imagine a friend who calls when you're preparing to do something important. At first, you answer because the voice is pleasant. Later, the calls mount and the important task remains unfinished. That small frustration is concrete. Use it as fuel. The 4E process begins here. Empathize with yourself, understand that it is hard, then use the fact that you can. This is an example. Someone I knew wanted to learn an instrument. They practiced for an hour and then lost a week to busyness, and then practiced for 20 minutes and then quit for a month. When they returned, they divided the goal into infinitesimal repetitions. 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week. After months, the infinitesimal fragments added up. That is both 4E and PAS in action. Small, steady inputs beat occasional genius. Stoics would call that practice ascent. Choose the next right thing. Now add emotion and routine habit. Choose one simple testable action you can take tomorrow that shows you still care about the goal. If the goal is writing, write for 15 minutes. If the goal is fitness, walk for 30 minutes and do 5 push-ups. You are not showing your worth with grand actions. You are gathering evidence for a future you. Balance seriousness with curiosity. Play can be a technique. Transform the task into a game. Set a timer and challenge yourself to accomplish as much as you can in the time allowed before it goes off. Curiosity keeps the mind alive. When the work becomes dull, ask one question. What would make this more interesting? The answer is usually a small tweak in angle or an out-of-the-way constraint. Practice a tiny ritual. Rituals fight against decision fatigue and mark the shift into focused work. Put your phone away in another room for the first 15 minutes. Stand up, breathe, and put down one genuine sentence of why you started. That sentence is an anchor. Stoics from ancient times wrote short precepts to anchor themselves prior to challenging work. You can too. You're not a machine. You'll mess up. Seize the wobble without surrendering. The spirit of discipline is kindness with firmness. Speak from the center, saying, I will keep on showing up, but I will not let excuses be in charge. Leave the gate as is and return again tomorrow. Listen to your internal dialogue. Substitute, I must get everything done today, or I fail, with, I will do the next thing that is of value. This shifts energy from fear to curiosity and from judgment to inquiry. Track progress by habits, not by sprees. Perfection is a distant lighthouse. Your work is the continued row. Keep frivolous experiments in your pocket and serious practice on the agenda. Both are required. Depth without lightness becomes brittle. Play without depth becomes shallow. Do both in life. Small things accumulate identity over slow time. If the goal is distant, the journey feels like a series of small, inconsequential days. Those days will feel like nothing's happening. That feeling is the old trap. You confuse the absence of fireworks with absence of progress. The problem is not the goal. The issue is in how we define success. We rely on milestones because they are tangible, but the consistent accumulation of leaned minutes, repeated errors made better, and gradual improvements are the real currency of success. Let's stir up that truth for a second. How long until the silence becomes the tale you desired? Too long if you only move when you happen to feel like it. The PAS process nudges here. Call out the issue, feel the resistance, and then map out the tiniest solvable next step. Tiny steps are anti-procrastination devices. They build energy. I want to tell you a brief vignette about life. I encountered a baker who told me that he did the same bread 12 months before customers caught on. He took notes, altered water by a teaspoon, perfected the art of listening to the dough. His progress was incremental and inappreciable over several months. but every adjustment mattered. That baker lived the 4E cycle. He empathized with his own frustration, worked with raw practice learned through iteration, and empowered his future by living by a steady routine. Practicality and philosophy butt heads when you accept two truths. One, your time is short. Two, attention is renewable if you manage it. The Stoic approach requires only worry about what you can control. You can't control the way that people perceive you or where the market goes. You can control whether you show up today and what you drill. That type of discipline creates freedom. When your mind is in control, you're less reactive, more innovative. Try this practical habit tonight. Define a one-win session. Pick a single measurable task that advances your goal and nothing else. Close email, set a 40-minute timer, and do that task. At the end, jot 3 observations. What worked, what didn't, and one tiny experiment for tomorrow. This is simple but powerful. Your brain will start to trust that progress is real and fair. Play and humor aren't negotiable. They're in your toolbox. When a project is thick, invite play. Pretend you're inventing a new rule or that you get 10 words to define the next step. Constraints ignite curiosity. Curiosity makes you continue to learn, and learning makes goals exciting. Balance depth and lightness. Long attention requires breaks, they're not guilt trips. Rest is productive if it rekindles curiosity. Take micro breaks to walk, to play with a fresh idea, or to scribble down a goofy note. These playful breaks feed the hard work. They are tiny investments in staying resilient. Slow, steady attention becomes the map that leads you home again. Being concentrated isn't a productivity gimmick. It's a way of figuring out who you are. Every choice to return, every minute you save for a purpose, makes you more you slowly. That's a philosophical reality that has practical consequences. If you show up as someone who protects attention, you'll be given different tests and challenges. The Stoics teach us to live in accordance with our values. Here the principle is fidelity to a chosen aim. Identify the real friction. Often the enemy is not lack of desire, but poor environment. We blame willpower when the room, the schedule, or the tools nudge us away from what matters. Solve the issue by making small changes. Move temptation devices out of the way. Put required tools within easy reach. Name a notebook for focus only. This is the solve stage in PAS and the educate stage in 4E. You establish conditions so your discipline has a greater likelihood of winning. Emotional honesty matters. When one feels resistance, ask a soft question. What am I afraid will occur if I finish it? Finishing work at times means redefining relationships or stepping into new responsibilities. Naming that fear removes the power from it. Stoic practice encourages you to rehearse worst-case scenarios in a managed way so that fear blunts. This exercise is not nihilistic. It is liberating. Alternate light, reconnection, and intensity to balance playfulness and intensity. Block intense work and reserve brief pockets for playful curiosity. Mastery is created through deep work. Creativity is revitalized through play. You can try a ridiculous prompt, draw a silly metaphor for your project, write a one-sentence fairy tale for your goal during play. These small movements keep your mind loose. Step-by-step routines do function. Use habit stacking. Add a new micro-habit onto a current ritual. After morning coffee, write 2 sentences. After brushing teeth at night, say 1 victory of the day. Small anchors keep the mental drag of starting low. Over weeks, these micro-habits sum up to huge wins. Measure differently. Instead of measuring success in sweeping terms, measure 2 distinct metrics. Fidelity. Did you arrive at the party? And calibration. Did you attempt something that you learned from? These are raw, genuine measurements. They keep you on course because outcomes do not depend on external validation. Remind yourself of ritual and community. A ritual commits you to the work. A community holds you accountable. Report one person on the teeny next thing you will do and come back. Public teeny commitments are powerful because they align your personal practice with social accountability without requiring great performances. When confusion returns to curiosity, ask one question that broadens the frame. What can I learn if I mess up this attempt? Curiosity turns failure from catastrophe to data. Your philosopher is a life scientist. Experiment, write down the results, and improve. Practice a 5-minute visualization. Observe the work done and the small steps you took to do it. Breathe slowly and let the image take shape. This imagination muscle focuses attention and fuel for automatic action. Ultimately, focusing is just listening to what matters most to you and making small agreements with that inner voice. They are modest agreements. One purposeful minute, one corrected misunderstanding, one tiny test. Keep them simple, do them again, and be gentle. Start with one clear North Star. A North Star is a sentence of focus. I will have a draft of the essay, or I will try to run 3 kilometers. Writing clearly reduces resistance. Then break down the North Star into habitual micro-commitments. The philosopher continues that identity is formed by doing it over and over. One inspirational day doesn't create habit. 1,000 small steady deeds do. Use environment as aid. If you want intense concentration, create an environment that whispers your goal. Light a single notebook, a clear desk, headphones, or a kettle can be cues that prepare your concentration. Remove drag by having the first step clear. When the first step is clear, the second step has fewer straggles. Practice compassion in disguise as discipline. When you fall a day, treat it as data. What changed, and what are you going to try tomorrow? Be inquisitive about the slip-up. From journal entries, plot little patterns. Stoics would call this an examination of conscience. It isn't shame. It is a tool for refinement. Make play a part of your plan. Each week, make a playful sprint. Pick a random constraint and pursue it for 40 minutes. Constraints sharpen creativity and make progress fun. Have little celebrations, but make them brief and return to work. The goal is tenacity, not continuous reward. Don't forget to defend incubation time. Occasionally, breakthrough happens off the desk. Get out for a walk, cook, do something manually. This type of work provides your subconscious with time to reassemble pieces and parts. Often the mind solves a problem with your hands being busy. Employ rest not as an absence of work, but as a necessity of creativity. When you're stuck, go back to the PAS model. Name the obstacle, feel the drag for a moment, then choose the smallest viable next step. Do that repeatedly. This habit turns anxiety into action. Action funnels and gains momentum. Have a humble long view. Your future self is made up of tiny decisions made repeatedly with love and resolve. Each day you return, you vote for the person you want to become. That vote compounds, slowly altering the course of your life. You can make one little experiment now. Write down in one sentence the name of your North Star. Following, write out the micro action you are taking tomorrow to bring it about. If you don't mind, post that sentence in the comments. Post one piece of information you learned this week about focus, or pose a question that's been bothering you. The community here is a test ground. Other people's feedback will help you experiment and hone your approach. Equilibrium between play and seriousness, depth, and play is not a compromise. It is the method. When you merge persistent practice with free play exploration, you have a life that's serious and fun. Return tomorrow and repeat. Thanks.